For 18 unbearable months, the Japanese women had lived inside a nightmare of filth, starvation, and crawling parasites, trapped in jungles, caves, abandoned outposts, and collapsing bunkers, their bodies reduced to bone and shadow, their hair matted, alive with lice, their scalps raw from constant scratching, their dignity shredded by an empire that demanded loyalty while giving nothing but hunger and fear in return. And when American forces finally found them, half-conscious, skin cracked from dehydration, some too weak to speak, they recoiled not out of disgust, but out of shock that human beings had been allowed to decay this far, that these women, once nurses, clerks, and auxiliaries of the Imperial Army, had been abandoned by their own commanders like disposable tools. The women themselves expected torture, humiliation, or execution, because that was what Japanese propaganda had drilled into them since childhood, warning that capture meant dishonor and a slow, painful death. And so, when American medics approached with blankets, water, soft voices, and steady hands, the women flinched like animals beaten too long, apologizing, bowing, trembling, some crying from confusion as they were carried to makeshift field hospitals where the light was too bright and the air too clean, and the first order from the American doctor, a young captain from Minnesota who had seen malaria, gangrene, and battle wounds, but never the slow, grinding neglect of lice-infested prisoners, was simple and gentle. Get them fed, get them warm, and get those heads shaved before the lice kill them. And when the U.S. Army barbers entered with clippers, kneeling to explain slowly through interpreters what was happening, some women sobbed, some resisted, some clutched their hair in terror, believing the shaving was punishment or humiliation. But the Americans kept repeating, "No, no, this is to save you. This is to heal you." And as the buzzing began, tufts of black hair fell like dead leaves onto the dirt floors, the women watching as months of torment dropped away strand by strand, the American soldiers catching hair before it hit their faces, wiping tears, holding trembling shoulders, speaking softly as if calming frightened children. And when the lice began falling like ashes from the shorn scalps, the medics worked faster, washing their heads with warm water and carbolic soap, massaging ointment into raw patches, drying them with clean towels, wrapping them in blankets as if restoring pieces of their stolen humanity. The women stunned by this tenderness, whispering to each other that the enemy was treating them better in 1 hour than their own army had in a year. Afterward, the soldiers fed them broth, bread, and fruit, the women eating slowly, afraid the food might vanish, while the medics burned the lice-ridden clothing and issued American fatigues that hung loosely on their starved frames. And as the days passed, the women began to laugh at the strange sensation of wind on their shaved heads, touching their scalps with wonder, realizing for the first time in years that they were clean, safe, and alive. And the Americans watched their transformation with quiet pride, not for glory or gratitude, but because saving life, even the life of someone who once believed you were a monster, was part of who they were. Over time, these women learned English phrases, learned to smile without fear, learned that compassion could come from the hands of men they had been told to hate. And when they finally returned home after the war, hair slowly growing back, many carried with them not just memories of lice and suffering, but the memory of American soldiers kneeling in the dirt, shaving their heads with care, restoring dignity with clippers and warm water, proving in one unforgettable moment that humanity could survive even in the ruins of war.
Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon.